All right, what's going on, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the Strong Tower Podcast. This week is a solo one. I had a last minute cancellation, so this week you just get me. And I went through a couple things this week, and I wanted to start the show off today by talking about, uh, you know, I can't even believe, So every morning, when I take my dog for a walk. I always walk past the same guy. Like, we're always the same time and everything. And we walk by, we usually say hey and good morning, right? For some strange reason, today he wants to make a comment about my dog. He decided to say, what did he say? He said, "Oh, he eats whatever he wants, doesn't he?" I'm just like, yeah. Like, like I don't even know what to say. Like, I'm not trying to start no confrontation or anything, And I'm just like, really, dude? Like, you got to comment on my dog? Like I know you all would hate that too, So I don't know. That was the kind of start of my morning. I got my lift in. I got all that stuff in. Walked my dog. Fed her, and now she's sleeping. So we're good to go. And I got a lot of stuff to talk about on the podcast. So let's start the episode.
Do you lie awake at night? Are you afraid to turn out the lights? Is there something you're scared of? What's there out in the dark? Make sure to keep all your windows locked. Do you surrender? You try to stay awake. These walls you can't escape. Here's one for the lonely hearts, for the ones that fear the dark. You better run out of here. Bet you can't look the other way. Here's one for the broken road. That's the only one you know. You better run out, truth or dare. Get me out, take me anywhere but here.
There we go. That's Anywhere But Here by Easton. And I don't even know where I found them at, actually. But, love their music. And that's probably my favorite song on the album. So, yeah, there's that. But a lot of stuff happened this week. So, I wanted to, of course, talk about the election and, all that stuff. It was crazy just leading up to it. And then, there's still stuff going on now. Today is Tuesday, November 10th, that I'm recording this. And this will be out on Thursday that you guys are listening to this, or Wednesday, either one. But, so now we have a new president. I don't think Trump will come back. I think it's just over. The numbers are up there, and it's just too much for him to come back. There's a lot of people that think like, oh, the election's not over yet. Trump can still win. I'm like, how? There's 4 states that you got to switch. You got to change. Trump has to win 4 different states, and I don't think it's going to happen. It's an overwhelming win for Biden, and you know what I mean. And we'll see. That's been my my statement towards it. And leading up to it, these candidates, they always tell you what you want to hear. And it's about how much of it are they really gonna go forth with and carry out. So you always have to sit and just give it time. You have to wait and see what happens. You have to just be patient and just hope for the best, and just pray that they have the interest of the people in mind. Whereas for me, I just don't think people that run for president do. I think people in politics in general, I don't think look out for the people. There's probably a couple, But for me, I just don't think it's there. So my whole thing is we'll see. And I loved so their victory speeches. Kamala came out to this fire song, by Mary J. Blige, and I was like, I was in it. I was like, ooh, okay, And then Biden came out, and then so check this out.
Joe Biden.
So he started running out, and I was just watching this like, oh, dude, no, slow down. Like, he was hustling. Dude is 78. And he was hustling out there, like, happy and excited and ready to go. Let's watch it again. This wasn't the actual music. This was music they played. They just put over it. It's the Ultimate Warriors theme song from WWF. Yeah, I'm not listening to that again. But yeah, I thought that was hilarious. If you didn't watch it, it was, again, the same thing that you would see in any of the, what do they call them? Like debates or the opening statements or whatever they're called. But yeah, he just told us what we wanted to hear. But all it is and people are excited about it. People are always excited about when they tell you stuff that you want to hear, of course, right? So we'll see what they come up with, and I'm just all about helping the country, man. Like, honestly, I don't care who you are. Just do things for the country. Like, is that too much to ask? Everyone wants something different. I get it. But just have the country's best interest in mind. That's all I think. So there was that, and then, and so we had, we voted Tuesday, and then we found out he was president-elect on Saturday, and we're still waiting, I guess, for Trump to just go through his motions, and because he hasn't conceded, and it's a bunch of political stuff. So, but Biden's pretty much the president, and he'll get inaugurated in January, and we'll go from there. And then hopefully, COVID starts heading downward spiral. So we'll see what happens. Another thing, I watched a couple things. If you haven't seen the Comedy Store documentary, the only reason I heard about it is because I listen to a lot of podcasts that they talk about the Comedy Store. We're always at the store. We're doing comedy at the store. And I was like, when I saw this documentary, I was like, oh, I want to watch this. I want to see what all the big deal is, So I watched it and I loved it. It's very well done, and all the interviews give you like in-depth stories about different comics, and like Richard Pryor, Jim Carrey, and all these different comics. And then I don't know, it was just really cool. And then I watched the movie Guest House, which had like Pauly Shore in it, it was a good movie and all. It wasn't the best. I think there could have been like more story to it, but I don't know. It was funny a little bit. And I bring up that because they both had Pauly Shore in it, and Pauly Shore, I think a lot of people don't like him as an actor. But it was one of my favorite like actors. Like, his movies just made me crack up. Just because of the humor that I like. Like, I like that stupid humor. And his movies, so I went back to look. So here they are right here. Let's see. So Encino Man with Brendan Fraser, hilarious. Son-in-Law, one of my top favorite like Pauly Shore movies is Son-in-Law. I think Son-in-Law, In the Army Now, and Biodome are probably my top three Pauly Shore movies. And then also, like, he's the voice of the cheese dude in Goofy movie. It's the Leaning Tower of Cheese, that kind of thing. Like, dude, one of my favorite, underrated, I think. I think he's underrated. I think it's just his humor is different. It's different than what people like, and it's different what people are used to. So, but I loved it, man. And his mom was the owner. Well, not the owner, but she ran the comedy store. She failed and passed the comics that would work there or get paid to work there. And so she kind of ran things there. And then she just died not too long ago. And it was like a huge loss for them. So, but watching the Comedy Store, it just made me think, like, all those people, they talk about it so much. Like, it was a place to go to, like, see your friends and hang out and do different things. And so many of them had stories from there. It wasn't about just going to work. It was, I don't know, it was a comfort place. So it made me think, like, have I ever had a place like that? Have I ever had a place where, I was just, like, comfortable and I felt good being there, and I could be with my friends, and I can be myself and not have to apologize for it and things like that. So the more I thought about church. I think growing up in the youth department that I did, and the people that we had and the friends that I had, like, everyone was there. Everyone I was in school with, that I was friends with, would be at church the same night. Or we would hang out after school until church started. And we would come early and we would stay late. And we would just hang out. We would hang out with our youth pastor. We would hang out with each other. And we always had different events. It wasn't just like going to church. We weren't going. People think going to youth group is like sitting around in a circle reading the Bible and just like reading Bible verses. It's not really like that. We went to different places. We did like a scavenger hunt, and we had to go different places. We went to like the mall and all these different things to like to do things on this list that we had, and we had to videotape it. We had to film all of it. And that's one of the things that got me into video, because I had to use the camera and I had to film people do the things. And that was early in the youth group. And then later, we used to do things like play Fear Factor. And we would win gift cards and money and stuff like that. And these kind of things, the reason we did those things is to bring people in, to show you that, look, man, we don't just sit around and have a boring time and open the Bible and sing Kumbaya. We're out to have a good time. But then we also want to talk to you and let you know what God does in our life and how good it feels and the experiences that we have because of, accepting Jesus Christ as our Lord and Savior, right? And it's not a cult thing. It's all about you and your feelings and your experience. And that's what the people of the youth group understood. That's why I like going there more so than actual church. I didn't like going in, we called it big church. I didn't like going into big church. I like being in the youth group and having the conversations and having, the leaders there had an open mind. We were able to go to them for anything. That's what brought a lot of people off the street and all out of public schools and brought them into church, is because of that. Because they can tell their horror stories to these youth leaders and they were going to listen. They weren't going to push God on these kids. They're going to tell you what God can do for you. Because He can, man. You just got to let it happen. You got to be trusting. You got to have faith. That's really all it is. And that's what I loved about it. But that was my place. That was my place where, we all came together, for one reason. But then we also did different things. It's where I learned I can scream for the first time. I remember doing it, and then my dad came in and was like, "Oh," like he was real shocked. And I don't know, man. Like, I just hope a lot of y'all have that kind of place that you can, come together and, be with your friends and be with people that care about you and be with people that can teach you things and you can learn from, and that's what I loved about it. And one of our youth pastors, like, opened his house to us. And we always, like, every week, we would be over his house. Yeah, we would study the Bible and do that stuff. And then, we did everything else. We hung out with each other. We did stupid stuff. Back in the day, I like to do that CKY and Jackass stuff. So we used to mess around on the treadmill. We used to jump into bushes, all that. We just had a good time. And that was my place. And I think it's good to have a place like that, like they had the Comedy Store. They can go away from the stress of regular life and just laugh at people and just laugh at their friends and have a good time. And that's what I loved about that documentary. Yeah, they went through some bad times. They had, they had people die left and right. They had people taking their own life because also they mentioned as a comic, most comics are screwed up in the head. I don't know why that is. I don't know why, if you're screwed up in the head, that you want to make people laugh. But, I mean, to them, it just is what it is. But yeah, I think church was my Comedy Store. It was my place to release all that, get rid of that stress, all those things, I think now is different for me. Now I don't think I need a place like that. Because I live my life, I try to live my life that way. Without the stress, without the anxiety. And, I try and do things with a clear mind. I repeat in my head, it might sound corny or whatever. One of my favorite shows is Friday Night Lights. And one of their sayings is, clear eyes, full hearts, can't lose. And a lot of times, like, if I'm lifting or if I'm going through something, I think about that. I'm like, how is my head right now? How's my heart? Am I fulfilling things that my heart is full? And am I doing it with a clear mind? A clear mind and clear eyes. Am I seeing clearly? Am I seeing that vision? Because I do. I have a vision for myself, and I try and keep that clearly in my mind. Arnold Schwarzenegger always said, man, if you can envision it, that's how it happens. But if you can't see yourself doing it, it's not going to happen. I can see it perfectly. So, and that's one of my things that I tell people to do is, if you want to do something, you have to envision yourself doing it. If you don't see yourself doing it, how are you going to get there? It doesn't make any sense. So clear eyes, full hearts, you have those two things, you can't lose. And I love that saying, and that sticks with me, and that's why I love that show. But yeah, totally lost what I was thinking about. But speaking of church, I just heard about this story this morning, and I kind of wanted to get into it a little bit. I actually have my youth pastor on. He'll be on the podcast next week. So I think this might be one of the questions I want to ask him about, because I've seen this a lot. Where, pastors are, I don't know, whether they're into drugs or they're cheating on their wife, and things of that nature, gosh, there's so many ads on this thing. So, hold on, I'm just trying to get rid of this ad. I don't care about The Bachelorette. Won't let me. Either way. So this is Carl Lentz. There's a huge Okay, so there's a huge church called Hillsong, and there's different Hillsongs in different states, I believe. It's kind of like I don't even know what you call them. I'm brain dead. Anyway, he's the pastor of Hillsong in New York, I believe. And he's very well known for baptizing Justin Bieber. He was friends with Justin Bieber. He was, Justin went to his church and all that stuff. So he got caught cheating on his wife. In this article, you have his daughter sticking up for him and stuff like that. So, I mean, I don't know how I feel about that. I just know if it was me, I wouldn't stick up for whatever parent did that. I wouldn't even talk to him. I would resent him like crazy. So for her to do that, and I think she's only 16. So, but yeah, so hold on. I'm getting that cotton mouth. But being a pastor and doing something like that, I get it. I get it. None of us are perfect. But with saying that, I think if you're a pastor and you're preaching the word of God and you're preaching to people to live a certain way, the way that God wants us to live, I think you got to hold yourself to a higher standard, man. I think being a pastor, especially of a huge church like that, when you have such a impact on people, how can you do things the way that regular people would do? You know what I mean? It's, for me, I hold people that put themselves in those positions to a higher standard. And this is why I want to talk to my old youth pastor about this when I talk to him on the podcast to see what he thinks. Because for me, that's just the way I am. I've been a part of churches where the pastor was greedy and wanted more money and all that kind of stuff, and one of the pastors cheated on his wife and stuff like that, and he's still a pastor today at a different church. For me, I just don't understand that. I don't understand how, I know forgiveness is a thing. I know imperfection is a thing. But to be a person with that kind of power, because people are going to listen to you. There's going to be people out there that will listen to every single word you say. But what else do they say? Actions speak louder than words, man. Say anything you want. I'm going to call you a phony. I'm going to call you a hypocrite. Because you're preaching us this stuff, but you can't even live it in your life. Like, cheating on your wife, that's not a tall task, man. Like, it's not something that's hard to stay away from. If you're having issues, deal with them. Because that's just going to make them worse. And it goes both ways for the husband and wife, I just want to throw that in there. But if you have issues, deal with them. You're a pastor. I know we all have our wants. We all have our lusts and things like that. So you got to be more disciplined than that, man. Like, big up to the daughter that can forgive him. I couldn't do that. I would be royally pissed. Like, I would be so mad. I don't know. It would take me a while. It would take me a while to, I'd have to talk to whomever, but I couldn't deal with that. But yeah, I mean, that's my 2 cents on that. Just thought I'd bring that up just because I heard it this morning and I just wanted to talk about it because I was listening to a podcast and the people talking about it like didn't really hit on anything because they're not into Christianity or they're not into religion. I'm not a big religious person, but I grew up in it. So I get it. I understand it. And those types of things. So. But yeah, so today, what I kind of wanted to talk about is something that I've just been thinking about over and over because of an issue at the place that I work. So I do security, right? And the whole rule with security is you have to have someone to come and relieve you for you to leave. So if I get off at 10 o'clock at night and no one is there to relieve me, I'm stuck until the person in charge can get someone to come. Sometimes they can come 4 hours later. Sometimes they don't. Or sometimes they do. And that's the biggest thing I hate about that job. But anyway, it's one of the things now that I'm seeing is that apparently all this overtime is up for grabs and things. And, I get calls every morning say, oh, we need your help, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, hey man, I have a life. I'm sorry that you're going through what you're going through, but I have a life. I do things other than, wake up an hour before it's my time to be at work. This morning I was up at 4. I watched a podcast. I drank my pre-workout. I trained. I took my dog for a walk. Came back, gonna film this, gonna work on my business. I'm doing all these things for myself, and by the time it's time for me to go, I've done all these different things. And that's what I strive to do. I do those things on purpose. I wake up early on purpose. So I have a full day before I have to go and do this job. You know what I mean? So I can't give you any more of my time. My time is very precious to me. So I really try and figure out how to use my time wisely. But then I talk to other people about it. I'm just like, why do you do it if you get mad at it? They agree to do the overtime, but then they get upset and they get angry. I'm like, but you said yes. So why are you angry? So that's where the thought came into my head is what is more valuable? Is it time or is it money? And then let me find. I came across a couple of good quotes about time and money. So one, it was quoted by Jim Rohn. He says, time is more valuable than money. You can get more money, but you cannot get more time. And I 100,000% agree with that. Because it's true. You can always get more money. That money is always out there for you to grab. Right now in 2020, you can literally do anything for money. Think about it. Yes, some things you got to work hard at and you got to be consistent and you got to, but there's a way to make money doing it. So let's put it in perspective. Think about it. There are people out there whispering and making weird noises into microphones and getting paid thousands of dollars. just to do that. It's called ASMR. So they're whispering like this in the microphone. And they're making weird sounds like that. That's all they're doing. And then people love it. People eat it up. People with anxiety, people with sleep problems, people, it allows them to sleep. It calms them down. Different noises, people take their makeup brush and brush it over the microphone, or they make some weird, I don't know. There's so many different noises out there that you can find on YouTube. Podcasting. Podcasting is a big thing that people make money of. I mean, there's so many things and so many ways you can make money. So why not do something that you love to try and do that? That's the way I look at it. That's what I do. And I found one that says, this is actually by J. Cole. I don't know if he said this or if it's in one of his songs. It might be a quote from a song. But he says, they say time is money, but really it's not. If we ever go broke, time is all we got. That is fire. That's bars. Because, oh my gosh, dude. Think about it. If you were broke, all you got is time. Time to think. Time to yourself. Time for other people. Use your time wisely. Like, yes, we need to make money to live. But something I always say and I always tell people at this job is we have to work to live. But we don't have to live to work, man. Like, this isn't a job to like go all out and, do something, you know what I mean? They don't care about you. They want you to give your life and all this time that you have. But if it was the opposite, if you needed their help, they'll be like, "What? No." They would look at you stupid. And that's what gets to me. That's what made me think about it. I was like, why are you giving all your time to this company that doesn't give a hoot about you? And I realize that. I see that. And look, if you need to pay your bills, if you need to do all this stuff, do what you got to do. I'm talking to the people that are the ones that are doing overtime that are getting mad. Or, or whoever cares for it, it's just... I don't know. It's just something I'm very passionate about. I'm very passionate about doing something that you love to do. The money's not going to come quick. It's not just a job where you get paid every week. You got to work for it. But once you get to that point where you can actually make money doing it, you're going to make more than you would ever do at that cheesy job. Like for me, I need that cheesy job to be able to do extra things, to be able to pay some bills. So that way I can do the things that I love to do. I love to do this podcast, right? I love owning my own supplement store, Strong Tower Nutrition. I love doing those things, man. And that's what makes my life fulfilling. That's what makes my heart full. That's what keeps my eyes clear, because I have that vision of, of what I want to do. Of what I want to do and where I want to go with my life. And right now, what I'm doing, it makes me happy. And, the fact that I get the opportunity to do these types of things, and I have the skills and the talent to be able to know what I'm doing. A lot of people are hiring people to do this stuff. And I can do it myself. It's the little things that I pay attention to. And right now I'm in a building season of my life, and I don't know where you guys are in yours. But, I took to Instagram and I wanted to see how many people thought the same thing as me. So how many people think that time is more valuable than money? So 89% say time and 11% say money. I think there's only two people that said money, so I think that's the 11%. And I said, what's more valuable in your opinion, time or money? Most people said time. Because it is, man. You have a family, you want to spend time with them. You have kids, you want to spend time with them. You have pets, you want to spend time with them. I love having the time to just me and my dog. When we go to the park and I get to see her run around and that smile on her face and we just get to, walk around. She don't really like playing with other dogs because she want to be with me. She loves being by my side and just walking, and then she'll let me walk a certain distance and then just sprint to me. We'll walk through the woods. I'll film her a little bit. Stuff like that. Time you can spend with your wife. Like, I don't get too much time with my wife because I have to go to another job. And then she works while I'm doing this stuff. So we try and spend as much time together as we can. It's the time that you put in with people that you're going to remember. You're not going to remember how much you made in overtime a week later. And what brought me to that conclusion is I've done overtime. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to do this. And then I'm going to see how different my paycheck is. Not too different. Not too different. I'd rather do something different to try and make income than do that same job for extra 8 hours. That's just not me. It might be you, and that's fine. Do you. That's all I care about, is that you do what you need to do to get through this life and to and just be happy. As long as you're happy, man, I don't care. Like, you win. I listen to Gary Vee sometimes, and he talks about, like, he knows billionaires that are so depressed and so just out of touch and just hate everything. And then he knows middle class people that are happy with whatever they have. He's like, if you're that person, you win. You don't need billions of dollars to be happy. If you're middle class or you're lower class, like, yeah, you think $1 billion will make you happy until you have it. But I don't know. I think we should make time for ourselves. We should make time for our loved ones, make time for our pets, make time for our kids. I think the pandemic showed us that, and it gave us all this time. Gave us a lot of time. So now we can focus on that and try and build on it. I listen to a lot of people in entertainment, a lot of comedians said this pandemic taught them that they don't want to travel as much. They don't want to be on the road as much as they were. So it's not just me. It's not just me. They realize that they're missing out on things. And I'm one person that hates missing out on things, man. I got, what's it called? FOMO? Fear of missing out? I've always had that since I was a little kid. I hate missing out on things, even if it's boring. I love to be there and just make sure I witness everything. You know how much I hated if I knew there was a party and I couldn't go? I remember one time when I was younger, I had got a concussion and there was a party that night and I felt fine. I didn't throw up or anything. Like, I had a little headache, but then later in the night, I was fine. And I told my mom, I was like, all right, Mom, I'm leaving. She was like, what? You just got a concussion. I was like, I know, but I feel fine. I want to go to this party. I can't miss it. She's like, no, go lay down. And I felt so bad. Like, I went to school, I think after the next 2 days, I went to school and, I heard all the stuff that happened at the party and I was just so mad. I was like, see, this is why I hate missing out. Because then I hate the talk later, and then people talk about what happened, and I'm just like, well, I was at home on the couch with a concussion. So, but yeah, that's what I hate about that. But in conclusion, I think you should pick time over money, but also do what you need to do to survive. Do what you need to do for your family. And I'm not, trying to go hard on that. I want you to do what you need to do. But also remember, like, there's people out there that need you, and you need yourself. You need to give yourself some time, whether it be exercising or doing something for yourself mentally. What I do is I talk to myself a lot, and I let the filter down, and I just come up. I just speak. Sometimes I'm like, oh, wow. Like, why was I, like sometimes I'm myself's own therapist. So, hey, you come up with that great ideas that way, I think. But yeah, time over money, definitely. But anyway. Yeah, and I thank y'all for listening. And thank y'all for subscribing on YouTube. It's been cool to see who all is listening and stuff like that. And I still encourage you to, interact with the podcast and call the hotline. You're not live. I edit these things. All you got to do is call the hotline. I don't answer the phone. Like, you just leave a voicemail and just answer the question that I ask or whatever. Or if you just want to say what's up. Or if you have a comment about the podcast and just, I just want to hear from you is all. So, and that is 302. The number is 302-313-6429. And that's the Strong Tower Podcast hotline. And I also want to mention Strong Tower Nutrition. You go to stnutrition.com. You can save 10% using the code STRONG. STRONG. And see what all we got there. Trying to bring in some new things. I'm in the works of trying different supplements right now. And we're going to be working on some merch. So keep a lookout for that. I'm sure I'll keep mentioning it. And again, I thank y'all for listening. I'm Ben Hamrick. This is Strong Tower Podcast. We're out. Peace.
That's the only one, you better run.